Logan, you bought a dinosaur's bones, so for like a lot of money. So I was just curious. You know, you've been doing very well, killing it. You're my older big brother. I look at you as like a big bro. Would you be down to like, donate $1 million for water?
No, I'm broke.
In the Logan Paul v. CoffeeZilla defamation lawsuit, Logan Paul was just outed yet again to be the petty billionaire that so many people out there already think he is. Specifically, it comes up in a motion filed by CoffeeZilla requesting for leave to take video depositions remotely by Zoom. The depositions are of 3 CryptoZoo investors, and despite the fact that they apparently live in Portugal and New Zealand, Logan Paul, or more specifically his legal team, is saying, nah, you have to spend cash.
Logan Paul once called himself a petty billionaire, not because he's short on cash, but because he knows how to wield money like a weapon. From disrespecting local cultures to getting tangled in crypto scams, Logan doesn't hesitate to use his wealth to silence, intimidate, or crush anyone who dares challenge him, whether it's independent investigators like CoffeeZilla or the victims of his CryptoZoo fiasco. Yet, oddly enough, every time a scandal erupts, Logan pops up in the headlines, beaming as a philanthropist, generously funneling money into Mr. Beast's clean water projects or other flashy charity campaigns. So the controversial figure transforms into a hero in the public's eyes. But behind that polished facade, is it genuine compassion or just an extravagant act to whitewash Logan's tainted hands? Today, I'm peeling back the curtain on all of it in this video.
X, 400,000. Mr. Beast, 400,000. Aiden, 400,000. Jinxie, 100,000. Los, 100,000.
When I saw Logan Paul's name tied to Team Water, my first thought was, what's he trying to whitewash this time? After the CryptoZoo debacle blew up, leaving countless investors high and dry, Logan Paul found himself drowning in a sea of backlash and endless lawsuits. His already battered reputation took a nosedive, scraping rock bottom. But instead of stepping up with apologies, making things right, or refunding the investors he'd let down, Logan chose a different, far slicker path, slipping into the role of a big-hearted hero. He started popping up in high-profile charity projects, where TV cameras and social media feeds were all too eager to focus on him. One such performance, Logan suddenly pitching in with Team Water, Mr. Beast's campaign to bring clean water to parched communities, think Malawi, Nepal, Ecuador, Zambia, and even struggling areas right here in the US. The campaign boasted heavy hitters like Kai Cenat, Gordon Ramsay, Hank Green, Dude Perfect, Zach King, and Logan Paul, who dropped a cool $100,000 into the effort. To plenty of viewers, it looked like a noble gesture, a sign of remorse and a fresh start. But those who followed Logan for years see a familiar script, using charity as a shiny PR shield to gloss over the ugly cracks in his public image. And when the timing of this philanthropy just happens to align with the heat from his crypto scandal, the question burns hotter. Is Logan genuinely out to help others, or just scrambling to save himself?
From CryptoZoo.
I lost around $50,000 in CryptoZoo.
I lost $40,000.
I lost around 15,000 US dollars.
I lost $25,000.
$120,000.
$500,000 Australian, which is $500,000 in CryptoZoo.
Shut up! No, you haven't.
Yeah, 500K.
Oh no.
Here's the thing, that $100,000 donation might seem generous at a glance. But if you've been following the CryptoZoo mess, you know it's pocket change compared to the $6 million investors poured into that project. Some even lost $500,000, all because they bought into Logan's lofty promises. But what did they get in return? Instead of the game changer Logan hyped up, players were left with glitchy, half-baked animations, a platform that barely worked, and a dev team that, well, just vanished. And Logan? He bailed on the whole thing, leaving behind a financial wreckage where investors lost everything, while he casually went back to live streaming, vlogging, and, oh look, playing the charity card. When you stack that $100,000 Team Water contribution against the $6 million CryptoZoo scam he pocketed, it's like a single grain of sand in a desert. For anyone not in the know, let me give you a quick rundown on Logan Paul's CryptoZoo fiasco before we unpack how he's earned the title of petty billionaire. In August 2021, Logan kicked off CryptoZoo, spinning a tantalizing vision, an NFT pet breeding game built on the blockchain where investors could have fun and rake in profits. The deal? Players would shell out real cash for Zoo tokens, use those to buy NFT eggs, and then wait for the eggs to hatch into animals. From there, they could breed them to generate more tokens and cash them out. Sounds like a sweet gig, doesn't it?
The development, but I am so excited about this project. It's so fun. It provides a yield with a token, can earn you money, and as a person who understands, I think, the NFT space enough to know what works, what people want, and what they're looking for, I think my game is gonna make some waves. So
it actually is.
Stay on the lookout for CryptoZoo.
I didn't know you had a date.
But things didn't go as smoothly as Logan promised. Once the money poured in and the project hit its funding goal, it all vanished like it never existed. No finished product, no profits, just a bunch of investors left empty-handed. Meanwhile, Logan Paul acted like nothing was wrong, until one person stepped up and ripped the curtain wide open. CoffeeZilla, the no-nonsense YouTube investigator, in a series of hard-hitting videos, CoffeeZilla didn't just trace the money, he exposed a slew of ugly truths about Logan's team, throwing around terms like scam that hit Logan's reputation like a wrecking ball. The fallout was so big that even the FBI and SEC jumped in to dig into the shady corners of Logan's crypto ventures. And that's when things got legal. A class action lawsuit led by Don Holland was filed in federal court, accusing Logan Paul and his crew of pulling a rug pull with CryptoZoo. The plaintiffs claimed Logan and his associates hyped up the NFT project and Zoo tokens with false promises of a game-changing NFT experience, raking in over $2 million from investors. Then they ditched the project, leaving the NFTs and tokens worthless and investors high and dry. The charge of fraud conspiracy to commit fraud and violations of Texas's Deceptive Trade Practices Act. As of now, Logan is still neck-deep in the lawsuit with CryptoZoo investors, with the FBI's scrutiny over his crypto-related accusations looming large. On top of that, his ongoing social media feud with CoffeeZilla shows no signs of cooling off. The defamation lawsuit he slapped on CoffeeZilla still hasn't been dropped. All of this has turned Logan into a lightning rod for criticism, his name now practically synonymous with scam. So when I saw Logan's name tied to Team Water, I dug into the latest updates on his legal battles with CoffeeZilla and the investors. What I found? He's blatantly using his wealth to strong-arm those with less power. Flipping through the legal documents tied to his disputes with CoffeeZilla, I came across messages allegedly from Logan to his legal team, dripping with venom. Logan reportedly vowed to sue CoffeeZilla into oblivion, make his life hell, and even wrote, "Zilla will pay one way or another." He went as far as calling himself a petty billionaire, someone who wants those who've wronged me to suffer. His words sparked a firestorm on X, with the online community pointing to them as proof that Logan isn't just trying to protect his reputation. He's weaponizing his influence and bank account to bully his critics. It's clear in this lawsuit that Logan's not just aiming to win, he's gunning to punish CoffeeZilla for daring to expose the truth about CryptoZoo. Barely catching a break from his string of scandals, petty billionaire Logan Paul is once again stirring up a storm. This time it's not on a boxing ring or in a YouTube video, but buried in the pages of court documents, where it seems Logan is trying to bully the very victims of his CryptoZoo debacle. It all ties back to the defamation lawsuit between Logan and independent investigator CoffeeZilla. As the case geared up, 3 CryptoZoo investors living halfway across the globe in Portugal and New Zealand were asked to provide testimony. CoffeeZilla's legal team suggested a simple solution: a Zoom call. Quick, cost-effective, and reasonable. But Logan's legal crew wasn't having it. They flat out refused, insisting no, they have to fly to Texas for in-person depositions. Their stated reason sounded legit: we can't verify witnesses' identities online. But to many, it felt like a power play, forcing investors who'd already lost their money to shell out thousands more for plane tickets, hotels, and travel expenses, just to say a few words in court.
And then he says Paul does not oppose the depositions occurring, but opposes them being conducted by remote means. In what appears to be an ongoing pattern, Paul wants to punish his critics by forcing them to incur international travel expenses simply to tell their story.
And just like that, a lawsuit meant to uncover the truth veered into something else entirely: suspicions that Logan Paul is weaponizing his wealth and the legal system to wear down the spirit and wallets of anyone bold enough to challenge him. Even someone with no legal expertise can see the ulterior motive behind the request from Logan's legal team. This isn't just about verifying testimony, it's a calculated move to make life harder for his opponents. Instead of letting witnesses testify via Zoom as initially proposed, Logan's side insisted they fly to Texas for in-person depositions. The fallout: each witness is looking at roughly $1,200 for airfare alone, not to mention costs for lodging, meals, travel time, and lost wages. For people already burned by the CryptoZoo mess, this extra burden feels like another stab at their finances and patience. According to CoffeeZilla, none of this is random. It's part of Logan Paul's playbook: drive up costs, drag out the process, and grind down resolve. He calls it a long-term headache, a vivid way of saying Logan's trying to silence him for daring to publicly demand refunds for CryptoZoo victims. All 3 witnesses in the case couldn't afford transcontinental flights, so CoffeeZilla had to foot the bill for them. In reality, this is a tactic to force the other side to keep shelling out cash, draining their resources until they're worn out. Logan's message is crystal clear: don't cross me unless you're ready to bleed dry. The harsh truth: neither the investors nor CoffeeZilla can match Logan's financial firepower with his estimated $50 million fortune. And even though I thought Logan's scandals had hit rock bottom, I never imagined he'd stoop this low. dragging out lawsuits for years, using his wealth to bully the less powerful, and thinking a few $100,000 in charity donations could wipe the slate clean. And now he's pulling the same stunt with Mr. Beast's Team Water. If you followed Logan Paul long enough, you'll see this isn't some fresh trick. Whitewashing his image with splashy charity stunts is his go-to move whenever a scandal hits. Let's rewind to 2017 when Logan sparked one of YouTube's biggest firestorms. He and his crew traveled to Japan and visited Aokigahara, the eerie forest at the base of Mount Fuji, infamously known as the Suicide Forest due to its tragic history. It could have just been a somber exploration, but with Logan, things took a dark turn. Deep in the forest, they stumbled across the body of a man hanging from a tree. Instead of shutting off the camera, showing respect and alerting authorities, Logan zoomed in, cracked jokes, and made crass remarks. The whole thing was recorded and uploaded to YouTube. The result? Over 6 million views in just 24 hours. But at the cost of global outrage. Fans, celebrities, and the media tore into him for his callousness and disrespect toward a tragic death. Under the weight of public backlash, Logan tried to make amends by pledging $1 million to suicide prevention organizations. But that money couldn't erase the stain of his actions or make people forget that he'd turned a moment of tragedy into entertainment fodder. Looking at Team Water through a media lens, Logan Paul's handling of the CryptoZoo fallout feels like a textbook case of image rehabilitation. Honestly, the whole process is so smooth, it's like he's following a script he's run through time and again. After CoffeeZilla exposed him, Logan didn't confront the issue head-on. No heartfelt apology, no immediate refunds, just a prolonged silence peppered with a few half-hearted responses, as if to remind everyone he's still around, but not ready to answer. It's a slick, stalling tactic. Stay quiet, let the public's outrage fizzle out as they get distracted by the next big drama. Then, right when the storm starts to die down, Logan drops his shining moment, announcing a $100,000 donation to Mr. Beast's Team Water. This isn't just charity, it's a masterclass in media redirection. It pulls focus away from his shady dealings and steers the narrative towards something heartwarming, positive, and emotionally charged. But there's another layer of calculation here, borrowing credibility. Mr. Beast is a YouTube icon of generosity and transparency. By standing next to him, Logan basks in the glow of those values, even if his past is still lurking in the shadows, far from forgotten. After the donation announcement, Logan doubled down on his community-minded guy persona with a flurry of appearances, from interviews to personal vlogs, all centered on doing good while conveniently dodging any mention of CryptoZoo. Once the public starts seeing Logan through this charitable lens, CryptoZoo fades into the background, dismissed as old news or something only obsessed people still dig up. With this strategy, Logan doesn't need to win the CryptoZoo debate. He just needs people to stop talking about it. And Team Water, it's the perfect shield to make that happen. From everything unfolding, it's clear Logan Paul isn't just a petty billionaire throwing around cash to strong-arm the less powerful in courtrooms. He's now using that same financial muscle to repaint his public image. But after all the damage he's done to the community, from the CryptoZoo disaster to the indelible stains of his past, these attempts at redemption are like a drop in the ocean. They might fool newcomers to the Logan Paul saga, but for many fans, myself included, it's just a cheap act. We won't forget, and we won't forgive. As long as he keeps trying to paper over his mistakes with money instead of owning up to them, the backlash will keep dogging his name. Looking back at it all, from the Aokigahara Forest fiasco to the CryptoZoo scam, and now the image laundering through Team Water, Logan Paul seems to have never truly grasped the concept of accountability. He sticks to his old playbook, using wealth to overpower, leaning on charity stunts to blur his wrongs, and banking on the public's short memory. But here's the truth. Fame might shield him from a few PR storms, but it can't erase the collective memory of what he's done. Logan Paul needs a real wake-up call, not from microphones and interview rooms, or flashy donation announcements, but from facing the consequences head-on and making things right for those he's exploited. Only then might his name stand a chance of being remembered with respect, instead of serving as a cautionary tale about the power of money and the hollowness of showbiz.